9 shots, 9 kills, 0 misses. The woman in wire-rimmed glasses had just outshot America's best snipers. But she wasn't a sniper. She wasn't even cleared to fire. Her orders said one thing: observe and report. Instead, she picked up a custom rifle and dismantled an ambush designed to kill Navy SEALs one mortar round at a time. The worst part? She recognized the attack pattern, because 2 years earlier, she wrote it. Before we begin, tell us, where are you watching from? And if you believe honor and courage still matter, help keep their legacy alive. 9 shots, 9 kills, 0 misses. While America's best snipers couldn't hit a single target, who was the woman in glasses they called just an analyst? 12 hours earlier, the Chinook thundered over the jagged desert of western Afghanistan. Its rotors carved through the morning haze, pushing sand into spirals that looked alive. Inside, SEAL Team 12 sat in silence, 8 men, helmets down, weapons ready. At the back, a woman barely 5'5" clutched a laptop and a worn notebook. Staff Sergeant Harper Quinn, 31, Signal Intelligence Analyst. Wire-rimmed glasses, brown hair tied back, a uniform without badges or wings. Chief Ryan Cole glanced at her once and looked away. To him, she was another observer sent by command, someone who wrote about danger instead of facing it. The cabin rattled as the pilot shouted, 2 minutes to landing. Cole turned to his team. Weapons check. They moved in perfect rhythm, magazines clicked. Bolts slammed forward, safeties off. No one spoke to the woman in the corner. Mark Hale, the sniper, smirked. Hope she brought extra pencils. Well, need a detailed obituary after this one. Laughter rippled through the cabin, short and sharp, before dying in the engine's roar. Harper didn't react. She just wrote something in her notebook. A line no one could see. The loudest rooms usually hold the quietest truths. Her eyes never left the horizon. The Chinook dropped fast, banking over a maze of stone ridges. Below, Falcon Valley opened like a scar sand, rock, and shadows deep enough to hide a war. Dust exploded upward as the helicopter touched down. The SEALs moved instantly, spreading out in a disciplined fan. Cole barked orders into comms, his voice steady. Team Bravo, North Ridge. Hale, get Overwatch. Quinn, you stay behind the command element. Harper nodded once. Copy that. The heat hit her like a wall made of sand and flame. By 0800, the air already shimmered, distorting the ground like liquid glass. They began the climb, 30 minutes of loose shale and sharp wind. Every step crunched like breaking glass. One false move and the slope could slide away beneath them. Halfway, up, a rock shifted under Hale's boot, tumbling down the cliff. It bounced once, twice, and vanished into the ravine. Cole froze, signaling halt, eyes scanning for movement below. Nothing, just wind. But Harper noticed something else, the way the dust settled slower than it should have. The air moved wrong. It twisted, coiled, folded back on itself. By the time they reached the ridge, the valley stretched out below in a breathtaking sweep of desolation. Caves pocked the opposite slope, black mouths yawning into the sun. Harper raised her binoculars and studied the terrain. Something stirred in her memory: angles, spacing, elevation. Each cave lay exactly 47 meters apart. Her pulse quickened. She'd seen this formation before, somewhere buried in old field manuals. Hale set up his rifle, calm and efficient. Targets, 620 meters. 5 hostiles between Alpha and Bravo sectors. His spotter, Nick Ramirez, whispered wind readings. 2 to 3 left to right. The first shot cracked out clean, controlled. A puff of dust 3 feet short. Come up, come right, Ramirez called. Hale adjusted and fired again. This one sparked off the rock 5 feet left. The men below scattered, vanishing into shadow. Cole hissed through his teeth. You're kidding me. Wind's insane, Chief, Hale replied, frustration creeping into his tone. It's like shooting through boiling air. Harper shifted her binoculars, tracing the invisible patterns of heat rising off the valley floor. She could almost see the distortion, the waves folding the light, bending the bullet's path. She scribbled a note. Thermal current, nonlinear crosswinds. Impossible trajectory without pattern prediction. The team adjusted positions. Another sniper element tried from the north. 2 more misses, perfect shots, sabotaged by nature itself. Cole cursed. We're burning daylight and ammo. He turned to Harper. Write that down. Weather's killing precision. Yes, sir, she said softly, eyes still on the caves. The shimmer over the rocks shifted again, like the air itself was breathing. Harper's heart thudded once. This valley wasn't random. It was shaped by design, an invisible funnel where heat, light, and wind created chaos. A natural trap. No, a man-made one. She lowered her binoculars, realizing too late what that meant. Every ridge, every cave, every gust of wind crafted to destroy anyone climbing this side. The pattern was too perfect. Hale reloaded, muttering, "Third time's the charm." He fired. The round vanished into the mirage. Seconds later, a sharp echo answered from the valley. The enemy was awake now. Cole shouted, "Everyone down!" Mortars began to fall. The first explosion tore the ridge open. Dirt and fire swallowed the sound of her heartbeat, and Harper Quinn, who wasn't supposed to fight, pressed her notebook against her chest and whispered, "I know, this pattern." The ridge exploded again, rocks, dust, and shrapnel raining over the team. Cole's voice tore through the radio. "Everyone get down! Find cover!" But there was nowhere to go. The air itself had turned hostile. Harper pressed her back against the stone, ears ringing. Her binoculars showed chaos below enemy muzzle flashes flickering like fireflies. The mortar blasts weren't random. They walked the impacts forward in perfect rhythm. Her breath caught, 47 meters between strikes, 3 firing arcs overlapping. She'd seen that pattern before. Her pen dropped into the dirt. It was her design page 34 of the Black Atlas Field Doctrine, a counter-ambush formation for mountainous terrain. But this, time, it was being used against them. Her stomach turned cold. She whispered to herself, "They stole it." And now, she had 14 minutes to undo her own creation. Cole ducked beside her, face streaked with dust. "Air support says 15 minutes out. We can't hold that long." Another blast rocked the slope, throwing Hale sideways. The sniper's rifle tumbled, his knuckles bleeding as he dragged it back. "Wind's going mad! Bullets are curling midair!" Cole snapped. "Then adapt!" Ramirez shouted over comms. "One man hit! Mendel's arm's gone!" The medic crawled toward the screams through a hail of splinters. Harper stared at her notebook, half a page of useless data. Her hand trembled once, then stilled. For 4 years, that pen had written reports about men like these. But reports didn't stop bleeding. She set the pen down on the rock beside her. Whispers of wind caught the page and flipped it shut. It felt like closing a chapter. "Chief!" Hale shouted. "I'm dry! 1 mag left!" Cole's reply was drowned by another mortar impact. Debris struck Harper's shoulder, knocking her sideways. The valley was devouring them. Each echo of gunfire ricocheted up the walls like a heartbeat. Harper looked down the slope and saw shapes moving through smoke. She exhaled slowly, then opened her pack. Inside, black matte metal gleamed under the sunlight. AR-10 marksman, 338, suppressor fitted, scope tuned for long range. She assembled it in silence, hands steady despite the explosions. Every motion was muscle memory carved by a life she wasn't supposed to have. Cole turned, eyes wide. "Quinn! What the hell is that?" "My insurance policy," she said. "You're not cleared to engage." "I'm cleared to keep you breathing," she answered, sliding around into the chamber. He reached for her shoulder. "You fire that, you answer for it. Then I'll answer later." She crawled toward the edge, hugging the ground, glass glinting near her cheek. Her pulse slowed. The valley opened before her, its heat shimmering like liquid metal. One breath in, one held. She read the mirage like a language only she knew, shot one crack of thunder, almost lost in the wind. Downrange, the enemy spotter fell face first beside the mortar tube. The next shell never launched. Cole blinked. "No way," Hale whispered. "That was 600 meters. Through a mirage." She didn't answer. Shot 2, the machine gunner in a cave mouth dropped before he could fire. Shot 3, the RPG loader's helmet snapped back. He never saw it coming. Each shot was a heartbeat. Each pause, a countdown to survival. Then came the retaliation. Bullets ripped into the ridge, snapping rock and dirt into her hair. Cole yelled, "Fall back!" She stayed prone, scope steady. 5 degrees south, she murmured. One left with a radio. She fired. The man folded instantly. The ambush was unraveling. Without spotters and gunners, their timing collapsed. But one burst of fire came from the far ridge closer, stronger. She swung her rifle, found the glint of a scope. Before she could squeeze the trigger impact, her world flashed white. The scope shattered. Glass cut across her cheek, warm blood running into her eye. Cole screamed, "Quinn's hit!" For 2 seconds, she couldn't see. But sound never lies. 2 seconds ago, she fired blind. Silence. Then a body struck the rocks below. Ramirez gasped through comms. She fired blind and still hit. The wind slowed as if in respect. Smoke drifted upward, curling around her like a shroud. She wiped blood from her cracked lens, steadying her breath. Through the fractured glass, the valley looked broken but quiet. The gunfire was gone. Cole crawled to her side, eyes scanning the slope. "They're retreating," he said, disbelief heavy in his voice. She chambered her last round and kept watching. When no more movement came, she flipped the rifle's safety on. Her hands didn't tremble, her voice barely a whisper. Ambush neutralized. Around her, the SEALs rose slowly from cover alive, stunned, speechless. Hale stared at her rifle, then at the small, blood-smeared woman behind it, the one who wasn't supposed to fight. Harper cleaned the scope with her sleeve, blood and dust mixing together. Her cracked glasses reflected the valley shed just saved, and for the first time, she allowed herself a breath that didn't taste like regret. The valley was silent now. Smoke drifted across the ridge, curling through sunlight like fading ghosts. Every man on the team moved as if waking from a nightmare that hadn't finished yet. Cole checked the wounded first, bandages tightening, morphine injections quick and wordless. Hale sat beside his shattered scope, staring at it as though it had betrayed him. Harper cleaned her rifle in silence, hands steady, face streaked with dried blood. The rescue helicopter came sooner than expected. Rotors thundered overhead, kicking up waves of dust that blurred the dead valley below. When the bird touched down, no one spoke. They just climbed aboard alive, dazed, changed. Inside, the air was thick with engine oil and silence. Harper sat near the rear, notebook open on her lap, pen poised but unmoving. Her reflection in the metal wall looked older, eyes dimmed, posture rigid. Cole finally broke the silence. "You're gonna tell me what that was?" She looked up, calm as stone. "Which part?" "The part where my best shooters couldn't hit air, and you erased a whole army." Her pen tapped against the page once. "It wasn't magic, Chief. It was mathematics and guilt." He frowned. "Guilt?" She hesitated. "I recognized the formation. It was mine. Part of an R&D doctrine I helped draft Black Atlas, designed to predict ambush patterns using terrain algorithms." Cole's face darkened. "You're saying we got caught in one of your own traps?" "Yes," she whispered. "And I was the only one who could close it." The helicopter rocked through turbulence, blades cutting the air like blades of fate. Cole leaned closer, voice sharp. "Then what the hell are you doing out here as an analyst?" "Because it's cleaner on paper," she said quietly. "The real world never is." They landed at Forward Base Reacher under a setting sun. Medics rushed the wounded to triage while officers waited with clipboards. Harper stepped off last, her shadow stretching across the tarmac. In the debrief tent, fluorescent lights hummed above a long metal table. An intelligence officer in crisp uniform asked questions without looking up. "State your name and function." "Staff Sergeant Harper Quinn, Signal Intelligence." He flipped through a file. "Your service record says you've never completed sniper school." "That's correct. But eyewitnesses claim you neutralized 11 hostiles under impossible conditions." Her reply was flat. "I provided defensive fire when the team was under threat." He stared at her, unmoving. "That's not in your orders." She adjusted her cracked glasses. Neither was dying. The officer's pen paused. He exhaled slowly, then closed the folder. "You're being reassigned. Effective immediately." 2 men in plain uniforms entered the tent. No insignia, no patches. One handed her a sealed envelope stamped classified, Ice only. She didn't open it. She didn't need to. She already knew what it meant. Outside, Cole was waiting near the perimeter fence. The sky was bruised purple, the desert stretching endless beyond the barbed wire. "You're leaving," he said. "It's part of the job," she replied. He shook his head. "No, that's not a job. That's a disappearance." She smiled faintly. "There's a difference?" He studied her face, the faint scar across her cheek, the steady calm of someone who'd already accepted too much. "I don't even know your real name." "Neither does the army," she said softly. He wanted to say more, but the words caught in his throat. Instead, he offered his hand. "My men are alive because of you. They're alive because they listened," she said. "That's rarer than people think." The sound of rotors rose again, a different aircraft, smaller, darker, unmarked. She picked up her rifle case and the notebook, now sealed inside a plastic bag. Her pen was still missing, left somewhere in Falcon Valley. Before boarding, she turned back once. Cole's silhouette stood against the horizon, watching. For the first time, she seemed uncertain whether to salute or wave. The helicopter lifted into the night, vanishing into the endless blue-black sky. Cole stood there until the sound faded completely. When he finally returned to the command tent, he found her after-action report on the table. Official summary: SEAL Team 12 encountered unexpected resistance. Adaptive tactics neutralized hostile fire. Mission concluded with minimal casualties. There was no mention of the rifle, no mention of Black Atlas, just a clean, bureaucratic ghost story. Cole read it twice. At the bottom, her initials HQ. He closed the file and locked it in a drawer marked Restricted. Then he whispered to no one, "Some ghosts wear dog tags." Outside, the desert wind carried the faint sound of distant thunder, but there were no storms on the radar, only echoes from a valley that was never supposed to exist. 5 months later, the Syrian desert burned under a copper sky. Chief Ryan Cole unfolded a briefing packet inside a dim tent, sand rattling against the canvas. Every page was precise, methodical, too perfect to be ordinary. At the bottom of the file, he spotted a small tag in the metadata, HQ. He froze for half a breath, then smiled faintly. Only one person wrote reports that clean and that dangerous. Team 12 moves in at 2200, he said over comms. They were hunting a weapons convoy hidden in an abandoned refinery. Cole folded the report, but unease crawled behind his ribs. Across the world, in an underground facility lit by sterile white light, Harper Quinn sat before 6 monitors. Her reflection flickered across the glass, glasses repaired, scar fading but never gone. Each screen showed live drone feeds, coordinates, vital signs, Team 12's every move. She whispered into her headset, voice calm. "Eagle Actual. This is Analyst Control. Confirming your approach vector." Cole's reply crackled through static. "Copy. Control. Feels too quiet tonight." Her hand hesitated above the keyboard. "Stay sharp. Terrain isn't what it seems." A new window blinked open on her monitor. System alert. Operation Atlas. Phase 2. Beta test active. She leaned forward, reading the details, and felt her chest tighten. Target designation: SEAL Team 12. Her pulse thundered in her ears. "Impossible," she breathed. "They can't." She typed fast. "Recommend immediate cancellation. Operator compromise confirmed." The screen blinked once before a new message appeared. "Request denied. Proceed as planned." The hum of the servers seemed louder now, mechanical, heartless. She grabbed her encrypted phone. No signal. Emergency line dead. Every channel silenced. "Come on!" she hissed, slamming a fist against the console. On screen, Cole's team advanced toward the refinery, unaware of the trap. She recognized the layout instantly, the same triangular ambush design shed erased months ago. Another message flashed across the screen. Facility lockdown. Observation mode only. Doors sealed. Red lights pulsed through the corridors. Harper stood, pacing toward the exit, but the steel door refused to budge. She turned back to the monitors. "Cole, get out of there," she said into dead air. "You're walking into the test zone." The screen showed movement thermal signatures surrounding the refinery. Her throat tightened. She knew the timing, the spacing, the precision of what was coming. Black Atlas had evolved, and now it was devouring its own. On camera, Cole's men spread out, scanning for threats. Hale's voice crackled. "Chief, wind's picking up weird. Feels like déjà vu." Harper's hand trembled. "Not again," she whispered. "Please, not again." She rushed to the emergency panel, yanked a rifle case from beneath the console. It was the same AR-10, the same weapon that had saved them once. Her fingers traced the metal, as if gripping clarity itself. The red alarm strobes painted the walls in violent flashes. Outside, the feed showed muzzle flashes, first distant, then near. Mortars began to fall, each strike spaced 47 meters apart. She pounded on the reinforced glass separating her from the command hall. "Stop it! They're not test subjects." No answer, only the rhythmic clicking of automatic systems executing a plan without conscience. Cole's voice burst through the static, raw, strained. "Control! We're pinned down! Who's calling this fire?" She screamed back. "It's not me! It's Atlas!" Then the comms cut to silence. The facility lights dimmed to black. Her screens flickered one by one until only a single camera feed remained. Cole's team crouched behind shattered walls, returning fire against invisible enemies. Harper slammed the override key. Access denied. Another command. Lockdown priority. A final line appeared on screen. Operator Quinn. Observation complete. Termination protocol pending. She stared at it, heart hammering, rage rising like fire in her throat. They wanted her to watch her own work destroy the only people had ever trusted her. Not this time. She raised the rifle, aimed at the control glass. One shot cracked through the silence, shattering the observation window. Shards fell like rain around her feet. She stepped through, alarms screaming behind her, sprinting toward the surface lift. "Hold on, Cole," she whispered, breath ragged. "I'm coming." But the lift controls blinked red system override. Access denied again. The last thing she saw on the central screen was a flash, then static. Her legs gave out. She sank to the floor, surrounded by alarms and smoke. Somewhere above, the war machine shed built was still running. Hours later, the screens rebooted to black text. Operation Atlas, Phase 2 successful. All test subjects terminated. Then, below it, in small gray letters, Asset HQ. Status compromised. Terminate on site. 2 days later, satellite footage captured a lone figure walking across the desert at dawn. Heat shimmered around her, rifle slung over one shoulder, blood drying along her collar. She turned once toward the drone camera, eyes unreadable behind cracked glasses. A faint smile crossed her face. Then she raised her weapon and fired. The feed went dark. On the wall inside Team 12's memorial room, a brass casing hung under one word: respect. No one knew who had placed it there. But Cole's men, what was left of them, never forgot the analyst who shouldn't have existed. Because some wolves don't howl, they wait. And when the hunt turns on them, they bite back. If you enjoyed the story, consider sending a super chat to help bring more stories like this. Now, click on the video on the screen to hear another story that's just as powerful and captivating, with courage, sacrifice, and a choice that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about duty and justice.